everyone, and welcome to Gylee and Friends, the podcast where you hang out with game devs and hear about our pixelated shenanigans. I am Chris Bergman. I am the founder and CEO of Gylee Games. Gylee Games is a game studio based in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are currently working on a 4-player co-op beat 'em up about ninja cheerleaders from outer space called Rah Rah Boom. Please wish list it on Steam. And as always, I have my wonderful co-host, Kim Edwards, our senior producer. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Chris.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah. I don't know if it's caught on camera, but you did perfectly until you had to tell him your name and then you checked your computer.
What my name was? Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember where I was in the intro. We're still, guys, this is,
We're learning here.
Episode 3 or 4 or something. Prototype episode 3 or 4. But,
you did great.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
How's your day been? Just real quick. We'll do a quick check-in.
Today? Today is great. Today is my youngest daughter's 21st birthday.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's all I got. You don't look like you would have a 21-year-old.
I don't know if you're joking or not.
I know. We have a great guest today, Kim.
Oh, I know.
You know her well.
Yeah.
You work with her quite often.
So do you.
Not as much, I don't think, though. You're the one that yells at her.
She needs no yelling.
Yeah. Should we get to it?
Yeah.
So, our guest today is Meghann Hubbard. No relation to Sam Hubbard, by the way, but we'll get into that. Meghann Hubbard is a junior production artist at Gylee Games. She was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, where she learned from a young age her love of art and storytelling. This love has manifested itself in many ways, such as performing as a character actress and crafting her own cosplays, which I don't think we've seen any good cosplays yet, or any cosplays. I don't think we've seen any.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't say good. We just haven't.
She grew up on Mario Party, Animal Crossing, and the Nancy Drew PC games, so her role with Gylee feels like a natural fit. Everyone, please welcome Meghann Hubbard.
Welcome, Meghann.
I feel like that went's smoothish.
Yeah.
Meghann, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Welcome to the podcast. For the second time, technically.
Yes, technically.
You're are the only guest that's been on twice, but this is...
Ooh.
Oh, that's
this was
true.
Before you weren't here for that episode.
Yeah.
No.
And that was with our old producer before we found mostly.drew.com.
And I had a lot less notice on that one.
Yeah.
I found out a half hour before.
Yeah.
And you did great. So we brought you back.
Had a little more prep this time.
So the way we start off the podcast currently is we talk about our weekly shenanigans that we've got into in the past 7 days or so. And Meghann, why don't we start with you? What's been going on in your life?
Honestly, I've just been adjusting to Ohio weather again because a little longer than a week ago, I just got back. Well, no, it's been about a week. I got back from Atlanta. I had 2 of my best friends got married. It was really exciting.
Yeah, you're in that like age group where everyone's getting married.
Yeah.
In Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Very different age group than in like California or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was really special. They're really good friends of mine. And I actually designed their wedding invitations and save the dates. So that was really cool to like see that everywhere. Cute. They had a cool thing too where all their vendors, they created a table where you could have either like a QR code or your business card or whatever. And people could like take pictures. So it was really cool because they're in the creative industry too. So they get that. But I gotta say, adjusting back to Ohio weather has sucked because it was like 55 to 65 the whole time I was down there. And it is definitely not that today here.
No.
It was like,
what,
ice pellets last Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, you missed all the good because we had good weather last week too.
Yeah, I had seen that. I know you guys got snow though here while I was gone.
Did we?
I don't think the city got it unless it was like flurries, like outside, like the suburbs got
out where
some.
I am, we got a decent amount of snow. So I was like, not sad to be missing that right now.
Feel that. I think we're coming out. I think this is the end of second winter. I'm feeling.
If I had wood to knock on, I would. I don't know. It was literally hailing like 4 hours ago.
It's supposed to be 70 in 2 days, though.
Yep.
And this is why we're all sick.
Well, I mean, the other day it was like what, 68 like early afternoon, and then I left work and it was 38 with a wind chill of 28. So welcome to Ohio.
Welcome to the Cincinnati Weather Podcast. Well, welcome back. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
We missed you. It was quiet.
It's quiet
in the office. I mean, it's always quiet in the office.
It was.
I think, except for me or Kim and I yelling at each other.
We don't do that.
Do we do that?
Never.
See?
Ever.
Don't fucking take her side. Kim bullies the shit out of me.
Drew, is that accurate?
Drew, you can say stuff.
It goes both ways.
Thank
No
you.
way.
It
Very
does.
even-sided.
It
No.
does. I'd say so.
Kim's a bully.
We're
All right,
not
bully.
starting.
Everybody's on Kim's side here.
Yeah,
except
thank
Chris.
Kim, what shenanigans did you get into this week
I feel like they're not shenanigans.
besides
It's very,
bullying me?
I'm not. Listen. I'm not bullying you. I'm just sticking up for myself, okay?
You're always allowed to stick up for yourself.
Thanks. Anyway, my shenanigans. For some weird reason, these last 3 days, I've been able to remember all my dreams, like really, like vibrantly, and it's weirding me out. And I haven't done anything differently, so I don't know what's going on. But that's not the weird thing. The weird thing is, I'll wake up, I'll tell them to my husband, and as he's listening, he's like, that's really how the thing played out. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how my dream played out. And he's like, well, why does that make sense? Like, why were you so thoughtful and responsible and had good ideas? And I'm like, you're not wrong. Like, everything I've done in these 3 dreams, I've woken up and been like, if I was like that in real life, I would be winning. Like, I'm super smart. I know what I'm doing. I told Chris my business idea, and he bought the website because.
Well, now that I have the website, can we tell everybody your business idea?
Yeah, that wasn't even like my coolest dream. That was just mine. The one that I had last night and woke
pitch
up
it to
to.
Meghann, like Megann's on Shark Tank, and she's a judge.
Well, it was just that so my husband's family is from Alabama, and his mom, when she goes there, she like brings back like a shit ton of peaches for us, like all the time. And so we're like, she'll can them, and then we'll make like jams and jellies out of them. And I was like telling him, like, I somehow managed to start like my own like jelly place, and he was like, well, what did you call it? And I said, oh, it's called I'll Be Jammed.
Well, I'll be jammed.
Yeah,
That's
well,
how
I'll
you
be
said it.
jammed. And I was like, wait, that's a really good name. And like I Googled it, and it doesn't, like, nobody's named anything Well, I'll Be Jammed. And I was like, why not? Because that's like genius. And why did I come up with that in my dreams? But the one I had the night before.
Oh, wait, so you didn't tell me, you didn't give me the context that it was about jellies and jams.
What did
I
you think?
assumed you
Oh, I
were
didn't-
talking about a pajama company.
Oh, shit. That's not what I was doing in my dream. Okay,
Because
listen.
that feels on brand for you.
That
as a pajama
does.
company. Like fashion, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I went to school.
Fashion.
Come fashion, yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to dream about it. I'll get
Okay.
back to you.
He was updated.
But that's a good one. No, the funnier one was the night before, and I'll give you a brief synopsis. I was like really excited, and I went to Walmart, which I never shop at, so that part of the dream didn't make sense. But I got Claritin D, a 24 pack, and I was elated because they had the 24 pack.
Do you have to go to the pharmacy and like?
I
give
had to
your
go to the
ID?
pharmacy and do the
Okay.
whole thing.
Yeah.
That all played out, and so I came outside and I sat at like an outside lunchroom table, and you were there, Chris, Ryan, who we work with, and Andrew, who we work with, were all there, and I was like boasting about my Claritin D, and my sister heard from across the parking lot, and she goes, "You got Claritin D?" And I was like, "I got Claritin D." And so she runs over across the parking lot, and she goes, "My friends want some Claritin D." And I go, "Who are your friends?" And she goes, "These are my friends." And she had 6 9-year-olds around her, like boys and girls. And I was like, "You're a grown adult. Like, you're older than me. Why do you have children for friends?" She was like, "Hey, Kimmy, like, don't give me a hard time. These are my friends. They all want Claritin D." And I was like, I am not giving children drugs. Like, this is not happening. And she was like, "These are my friends. You should do the thing I want." And I said, "I will, the adult, give you the adult drugs. And if you want to give your children friends some Claritin D, you do." And it gets way weirder than that. She drops them in a puddle and they dissolve, and I get mad, and we have a whole Claritin D conversation about us, like, get your own. Anyway, my
I hope
husband,
there's some psychologists listening.
right? My husband, it was like a very long dream. My husband comes out of it and he goes, "So you were just like really responsible about like not giving kids drugs in your dream?" And I was like,
Were you like
Yeah.
a drug dealer when you were younger, and that's why you have
Is that
anxiety
why I
about
had-
it now?
"No, but I have been telling everyone to take Claritin D lately." I think that was more.
Well, on Friday, I went down to Lexington and golfed with Wes Keltner. Count up.
Oh yeah, name drop. Count one.
Name drop. Went to Lexington and we went to Wes's golf simulator thing. And oh boy, I haven't golfed in like 2 years.
Seriously?
Yeah, I haven't like swung a club in 2. That was like top golf. I haven't like golfed in probably like 10 years. And I was real fucking bad. And Wes was so considerate, and he was really good. Like he's been like getting like weekly coaching and stuff, and so it was really embarrassing for me for the most part.
What did you do? Like a back 9, or were you just?
No,
like...
we did 18 holes. We did 18 holes in Germany.
How sore were you the next day?
I was fine.
Oh, really?
But yeah. Oh, Wes is. I have a shirt on today.
Was that purposeful?
Oh, I can't see if that is that on screen. I can't see. We'll guess. It's legitimately one of my favorite sweaters,
hoodies.
Yeah, but yeah, I did really bad. And then, but yeah, he was great, man. He gave me a bunch of advice on some stuff that we're working on, and I like hanging out with mentors. He's a really good mentor. So I did that. What else do I have? Oh, sinus headaches. So I've gone like the whole week with like brutal sinus headaches because of this weather fluctuation. It's been awful, man. I haven't slept well. Been grumpy.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm not experiencing that, but I'm hearing that from so many people.
Yeah, it sucks. So get your Claritin D, I guess. Is what
this is not sponsored, by the way. This is not how I thought this was going to pan out.
And then I did want to mention a future shenanigan that I'm very much looking forward to.
I'm looking at what you wrote, and that's okay.
I do want to. Can we talk about it? Just a little bit.
It's not your shenanigan.
It absolutely is going to be. I'm going to make it my shenanigan.
Okay.
I cannot wait. I'm going to, Drew, I'm going to tell you this story. I'm going to party in Boston at PAX East with Kim's husband because Kim's husband's going.
Can I come?
Right?
I mean, yeah, of course.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. We are
cool.
going to have a blast. I cannot wait to hang out with your husband. I love him so much. And you guard him.
I do guard him.
He's amazing.
Other coworkers will be like, "Do you and your husband want to?" They don't say like, "Kim, do you want to come hang out?"
No,
They'll
we
say,
all
"Do
love
you
him
and your
more."
Husband, like, yeah. I get it. He's cool.
Are you excited for him to come to PAX and
I'm
see your
very
booth?
nervous. Yeah, we'll see.
What makes you nervous about it?
I don't know. Let me process it.
All right, we'll come back to that. And I can't wait for that to be a pest shenanigan. You know?
Yeah.
It's going to be real fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are some of our weekly shenanigans. Now, game news. It's time to talk about the news that's been happening in gaming in the past week. Get the opinions of our experts, Kim Edwards and Meghann Hubbard as well. I'm definitely going to forget your last name, dude, which is hilarious because you're just Meghann. I don't, you know.
Well, I mean, just pretend that I'm related to Sam Hubbard.
Yeah,
You will remember.
That's how I'm
no
trying
problem.
to cement it.
Did he tell you when you first started? He kept saying, "Remind me to ask her. Remind me to ask her."
Kim,
Like,
do you know who Sam Hubbard is?
he's a football player.
Bengals for the Bengals.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
A phenomenal football player
I'm gonna be
and a
honest. I
very
didn't
handsome
know.
man.
After he asked me, I was pretty sure that's the reason I got hired. Was
Oh,
because he
no.
thought I was related to Sam Hubbard.
Understood. Yeah.
Because the disappointment when I
was so
told you
sad.
no.
I was so sad. But yeah, no, it had nothing to do with you were. We'll get to you getting hired, I think, probably. But that wasn't it. Gaming news is what we're here to talk about today. And we have a thread now in multiple podcasts in gaming news that we have to continue this week, unfortunately. And that is layoffs. We had more layoffs this week in gaming. Sony laid off about 900 PlayStation employees. The layoffs affected a number of PlayStation studios, including Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla, Firesprite, and most significantly, PlayStation's London studio. This also included a bunch of games that were in development that are now canceled. I have a, God, this is fucking.
Are you gonna name drop? He's
I'm
gonna name
not.
drop. Okay.
I'm not, but it's in that lane. I have quite a few friends at Sony Studios, different Sony studios.
Can we count that?
That's a half point. That's a brag.
Like, that could be like double points because it's
Oh,
multiple people.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I was like panic texting them in the morning and like waking people up, like because there are a bunch of them are on the West Coast, right? And I saw the news at like 9 a.m. our time.
Oh,
So
did
I'm like
you? I didn't know
texting
you
them
saw
like
that.
5,
early.
6 a.m. their time, and no one I know got let go, which is really good.
That's really good.
Is very exciting. I will say, to keep it vague, there's one studio I know that intentionally didn't hire during the hiring boom that happened after COVID. Because COVID, like gaming revenue went up, like I think like a third, like 33% or something like that. And so a lot of these studios hired big after COVID. One, because capital was cheap, so it's easy to get business loans back then. And then two, you have this big boom in revenue, so you scale up, right? And I know at least one studio was like, dude, we're not going to scale up unless we absolutely need it because we don't want to be in this position. You know what I mean? And now that studio had no layoffs, and it's because of that, because they didn't the studios that have not had layoffs that I know of have intentionally not grown during that boom because they saw it as the boom that it was. I think that's interesting.
That is interesting.
We haven't grown much yet.
Well, we're still working on a game though.
Yeah. But we have more games coming.
That's what I'm saying. Once this game gets launched, I see growth.
I mean, I want growth, but I want to make sure it's sustainable. We also haven't laid off anybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank our investors and our publishers. We are in a pretty good position for 2024, which is rare, I think. But yeah, so that was PlayStation. Such a fucking bummer. I was very happy that none of my friends got cut, but it I think what's crazy to me is like the talent. Like I'd say half of these people they got to be gone from the gaming industry, right? They're not going to come back.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It's
and so you
a
get
hard
talent
job to
drain
have.
in the industry. You have people that have 20 years of experience. You know, especially like Sony. Most of Sony studios are all bespoke engines. They're not using Unreal or Unity. They're using their own engines that they've created.
Oh.
So like once that talent leaves, that knowledge base is like gone, man. Mm-hmm. Like how do you maintain a knowledge base for a bespoke engine like that? I don't know. I mean, I think it's like with those studios in particular, it's going to be really difficult to like. I'm curious to see how it moves forward. I don't know. Do you guys have any opinions?
I mean, it's sad to see. I mean, my LinkedIn feed is just like, ever since I got this job, the algorithm is like, hey, gaming news, you know? So I'm just reading a lot about it, and it's really sad. But the community has really come together and really tried to help those that have been laid off. And I've seen a lot of posts about, you know, let's try to find the game studios that put like people over profits kind of thing, which I think that's inspiring. And I love in these kind of times to see people come together like that. But it is unfortunate that this is happening and it's so widespread.
Yeah, I think there's a few Discords and Slacks that are just for people that have been laid off and are looking for gigs in gaming, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the people that organize that do that kind of volunteer work, man. This industry would like. There's a couple different people, like Guy, and I can't think of his last name. Dang, and I only remember his name's Guy because because our studio is named after a guy. But he started Game Industry Gathering. You've been on that, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm in that.
You know, and that started during COVID, and it was just like a way to connect with other games industry individuals, man. And like all that's volunteer. Like that's not, you know, none of this. I just like, it's crazy how much of this industry is volunteer oriented, man. Lana Bashinsky, who's a senior animator at Riot Games, but she runs the entire GDC animation portion. Like as a volunteer.
Huge.
Like it's insane, man. And I don't know, man. I just wish it seems like there's enough money to go around to not have so many volunteers.
I agree. I think the one thing I've noticed most about the gaming industry, just because I'm mostly in the tech startup industry, like it's so welcoming and so friendly, and like the community itself is amazing. And I've never been in a community like this. And it's just sad to see it get hit so hard the way it's been lately.
Mm-hmm.
I think like one of the best parts about that for you coming in is the strong sort of core of female game devs, and how it seems like everyone's like rallies around each other really well.
Yeah,
in that portion of the industry, which I admire and think is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It is awesome. I can't think of another community like it. I really can't. It's cool.
We'll get into that I want to talk more about that in Megan's interview portion.
Oh, wonderful.
But yeah, layoffs.
Moving on.
Moving on. EA also announced cutting roughly 670 individuals, which is a bummer. So more layoffs there. Obviously, EA, that's not new for them. But I think what's a huge bummer is that also means that they canceled Respawn's Star Wars FPS in development game, which I think was a Mandalorian game. And that fucking bums me out. Because how many like Star Wars games has EA canceled? Like, such a bummer.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, you guys got to be more nerdy. We talked about Embracer last week, laying off a bunch of people, trying to sell off studios, etc. Is that there are studios that are spinning out as independent studios again, which I think is really cool. The first one is Toys for Bob. It's splitting from Activision Blizzard. So they were, last week, technically, I believe they were shut down during the Microsoft, or a couple weeks ago, technically shut down as a Microsoft studio. Because they were purchased in the Activision Blizzard purchase. Toys for Bob made one of my favorite games of all time, Skylanders. So Skylanders was like this little like kids toys, and then you can put the toy on the Disney Infinity's another game like this, where you put the action figure on the little podium or whatever, and then the figure appears in game, and you can play as that character or whatever.
Cool.
I was a big fan of Disney Infinity when that came out. My kids played this shit. Skylanders is the first game that my oldest son completed all the way through.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, he just told me that the other day too, which was crazy. So Toys for Bob is spinning off from Activision Blizzard / Microsoft to start their, I mean, it's still Toys for Bob, but they're an independent studio again, which I think is cool. Seems like Microsoft's going to help them with that in some shape or form. The last game they made was Crash Bandicoot 4, which I think did okay. You know, it's a Crash game. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I love Crash games. And then also Saber Interactive bought itself back from Embracer for $500 million.
That one I find interesting. I just want to know how that deal went down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they got outside capital to be able to purchase themselves back. But Saber, I mean, that was a recent acquisition. I think like less than 2 years that Embracer bought them.
That's crazy.
But the game that they're working on that did not get canceled, Star Wars game they're working on that did not get canceled that I'm excited about is Knights of the Old Republic remake, which is one of my favorite games of all time.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm very
How
very
old
excited.
is that one?
Early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
I think PC game initially. KOTOR.
My brain was
Yeah.
like, that's not that old, and then I was like, wait, it's 2024.
That's BioWare, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
a while ago.
They did it first. I could be wrong about that, but love that game. And then Gearbox is trying to spin out as well, so they're currently owned by Embracer. But yeah, real quick, Gearbox, makers of Borderlands, obviously trying to spin out as well. They were an independent studio for a very long time. So I think like Embracer was like during that, this is just my observation, but like, and it's a very like uninformed observation, so I could be totally wrong. But I think Embracer, you know, they had a $2 billion deal that fell through like a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, that I believe was mostly like Saudi Arabia money or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But they had been buying up studios left and right to kind of build this conglomerate during the boom, the COVID boom. You know, and I think now we're seeing sort of the result of them losing that capital infusion that they're expecting, one, and then two, you know, trying to get rid of assets to stay afloat kind of long term. So I think, I mean, layoffs are awful, but my hope is, man, I'm too cynical to even say it because I know it's not going to happen.
Oh, now you said it's not going to happen. Why don't you say the thing? Oh my gosh.
What's happening here is people are trying to make their quarterly profits look higher because
everyone does that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. And then they're going to bring everybody back, you know, or different people, cheaper. It won't be the same people. It'll be people that they get at a much cheaper salary.
Yep.
Right. And then they're going to do it again next year. And it's going to be the same fucking cycle every single year.
I don't think that's cynical.
Which is frustrating because like what I want is like, let's get to a healthy level for the entire games industry. Let's make this more consistent. You know, like one of the things that we're trying to do at Gylee is like make sure we have a plan. Kind of no matter what happens. You know, I have a plan if Rah-Rah does horribly, right?
But it's not going to.
No, people love it.
People love it.
It has been cool to see streamers stream it lately. I liked it. Did you get to see any of that? Did you watch any of it?
I haven't logged on and looked at any of it yet, but
okay.
no.
I'll say I have them all on unlisted YouTube, so I'll send them to everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need to share it more
Yeah.
on Slack. That's all.
Now, new segment. Well, a sub-segment in gaming news is Kim gets to pick one of the stories.
It's not gaming related. Spoiler.
Kim, what's your pick of the week for gaming news?
It's not gaming. You just said I could pick something. Gosh darn it. Anyway. Have you heard about the Wendy's menu thing?
I saw it. And I was like, yep, I know all about this.
I feel like this is a good,
Can you give
hot
us
topic.
a synopsis first of what's going on?
Wendy's will test new menus that changes price throughout the day. So basically, it's like surge pricing for the menus, which is, to me, right now, especially in the economy where we're just talking about layoffs, and the layoffs aren't just happening in games. They're happening everywhere. The economy is horrible. For them to, and to my understanding, and it wasn't in this particular article that we pulled, I think they spent like at least $3 million in research, and then it says it's part of a $20 million investment in new digital menu boards. A ridiculous amount of money to spend on something where they could have just like cut cost or done other things instead of spending $20 million.
Do you really think Wendy's has enough margin to cut costs literally anywhere?
I can't tell if you're messing.
I'm not messing. Like, where would you cut costs with Wendy's?
Did you read the article though? They
No.
they spent $20 million.
Okay.
This was said. It's part of a $20 million investment in new digital menu boards, and it's the U.S. restaurants that are eligible to change the prices depending on demand. They could have used that money for other things. So I'm not pulling that dollar figure out of my butt. That's a real figure that they used specifically for price gouging.
I mean, I get the price gouging bit, but 20 million is not a lot of money. That's like 4 restaurants.
That's neither here nor there. I think the money was not spent well, in my opinion, and it's in poor taste.
Why is it in poor taste?
Because of the economy right now, and it's basically taking advantage of people saying, oh, if you have enough money and you don't want to wait in line, then spend an extra buck or two. And if you don't have a lot of money, well, you have to show up at midnight and get whatever cold fries that we have.
Well, and that's the thing that they weren't specific about what they meant by it, because I've seen conversations, I've read threads, comment threads about this, and it's unclear if they mean, because they said like, if you came at like a popular lunch or dinner time, for example, you would pay more, but it's not clear if they would designate what those hours are. So like, for example, if they said, okay, lunch is from 12 to 2, so you're going to pay $2 more for your burger, or if it's like, once there's more than 4 people in the drive-through line, like it senses that, does all of a sudden the price go up because it deems that it's busier now? And could you imagine being the 5th in line and literally seeing in real time the digital menu board changing, and it's like all of a sudden your thing goes up $2? So it doesn't make sense, because the surge pricing for stuff like Uber and Lyft, that makes more sense, because like busy times of day, it's kind of supply and demand. You're going to pay more, especially on a holiday or something like that, or like popular times when people get off, like 5 o'clock, you're going to pay more for a car because there's only so many like available. But for a burger, like for some chicken nuggets, like I don't agree with this. And I kind of think they put this out there to get feedback from people.
Yeah.
Because obviously they haven't done it yet. So I think they were kind of putting feelers out there, and the response has not been positive.
It didn't do well. The way I took it is they would be very similar to like Uber, and like all of a sudden if a bunch of people are in line, then that's when they're going to decide that price goes up. And you're right, like if you're 5th in line or you're at the register and you got a new person and they're dicking around, you don't know what your burger is going to cost.
Yeah.
I think it's like them trying to figure out, hang on, I agree with everything, by the way. Yes. I think it's them trying to figure out other revenue streams. Like you have, like fast food's tough, man. Like as far as, I think the product has gone down as far as it can go. Like I don't think you can make it cheaper or more awful. Right? Salaries have gone down as far as they can go. I mean, I think a big reason that the minimum wage hasn't been increased in so long federally is because of these fast food companies being like, we like do not increase the minimum wage, right? Like, and so it's like Well, then how do you squeeze, like, there's nothing else left to squeeze as far as revenue in these companies. And so they're like, well, how can we, like, what can we do to, like, you know, it's like monetizing, they're like gamifying and monetizing, you know, the fast food industry the way you would a fucking mobile app.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just don't see how they think, though, that this is going to work. Because whether they do it by, like, hour, like 12 to 2 is lunch, you're going to pay more, or they do it by, you know, how many people are in line. I mean, if it's the time thing, people are just going to go somewhere else for lunch. They're going to go somewhere else for dinner. And then, you know, and if they're fifth in line and they see the price go up, they'll leave if it goes up by enough. Because I don't see how this is going to work.
The whole value proposition of something like Wendy's is it's cheap.
Right.
Right.
And, like, so if the prices are going up, like, there's going to be other options.
I don't know. I think it's a bad idea. I think they really shot themselves in the foot, in my opinion.
Well, Kim, keep us updated and on this particular section of gaming news.
And then it went like 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if it's glass, yeah, you're gonna shatter it. Battle your battles, you gotta tell it how to the cure. Breathe underwater. Won't you teach me how to do it? Yeah, I wanna take a swim, bring me with you one time. We can fly if you take me under your wing. But let me do my thing. And then it went like hey, hey, hey. 5, 6, 7, 8. If it's trash, yeah, you're gonna take it out. Handle it rapidly, got the magic, you got it for sure. Make it nice, yeah, I'll bring the good vibes. Gotta win if you let me into the race. But I'ma do it my way. And then it went like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do you want to tell us your title and what you do at Gylee?
So I am the junior production artist at Gylee, and simple terms, I basically just take our animator Emiliano's rough lines that he animates, different characters, usually a lot of times bosses, and I kind of make them pretty, and I render them, and I color them, and I do the line weight and everything kind of according to our art director Ryan's guidance. So, but I get kind of thrown into a lot of different situations as well. Anything we need. The small studio life is
That's kind of all of us.
which is cool though.
You
I like,
dig that?
Yeah, I like being able to kind of have my hands in a lot of different pots. So
Why don't you give us a little bit about your background and what you do at Gylee?
I mean, ever since I was little, I've just like always loved art. I was always drawing. I like to say the first time I held a crayon, it just like I fell in love with it. So I went to UC's School of DAP, Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning for people who are not local.
Yeah, very difficult to get into.
Yeah,
But
and I focused on like drawing and animation. That's just what my love has always been. And I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I also took creative writing courses. I've always been a writer as well.
that's why you had that little script note that we use.
Yeah.
How great is that?
Wait,
So I was actually
what?
only one class away from getting a minor, technically. But,
That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah. So I love that.
Remember,
aspect.
because we ended up using you had a note for the
she doesn't know
ending
that.
cutscene.
She doesn't know what you're talking about.
Oh, can you fill her in?
Yeah, so the last script read that we did for the very final level, we were like,
No spoilers.
Where I got to be like,
yeah, you killed it, by the way. There was a brief discussion on how it didn't feel like it ended well and we needed something to add in there. So I was taking notes the entire time, and you had mentioned, what if we just say this one line? And I was like, well, that's brilliant. And I wrote it down, and I saved it, and I was
It's in
like,
the script now.
Yeah.
cool.
It's literally your line is
Yeah.
the very last line in the script in the very last level.
That's cool.
Yeah.
In
That's
the-
cool to know.
The
Yeah.
mid credits. end scene, I think, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's past the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
game.
remember the scene you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
to
I
know.
didn't tell you
Yeah.
that just happened because we've been sitting on it for a moment. But I saved your suggestion because I was like, this is perfect. This wraps
So it
everything up.
makes total sense
Yeah.
that you did.
Yeah,
creative
yeah.
writing.
I was always told growing up that I should be an author. So I feel
Aw.
like that kind of
That's awesome.
shows why I'm so drawn to like good stories too. That's kind of what drives me to want to make art and want to make art about certain things that the story is strong.
And
So.
why you don't have trauma, because you had a support structure growing up. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I have a family. I have a family that a lot of them are more the science, math brains.
Right on.
I have a lot of engineers
Yeah.
and machinists and things like that. But I mean, for the most part, my family was pretty supportive. So I know I'm fortunate in that aspect.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow.
So okay, so you go to DAP, you do all that, you learn a lot about creative writing,
Mm-hmm.
and then how do you end up at Gylee, and what do you do there?
Well, I think just that combination of like loving great stories, loving animation, and I just grew up with games. I went from the N64 to the GameCube to the Wii. I was a big Nintendo girl. It just feels like such a natural fit to be a part of a production team to help make art for a game. So I love it.
we love you.
No.
And can you kind of give a little detailed report on what your day-to-day looks like?
I do color, and I've actually learned being here almost 6 months now. Yeah, exciting. I just realized that the other day that I've almost hit my 6-month mark. I've found a process that works really well for me and makes the end product a lot cleaner, I think, than like when I first started, since I was still learning. But yeah, and if it's a new character, it's a lot of back and forth with Ryan, the art director, on just kind of color palette and things like that. Where I'm working with him right now on the current boss that I'm about to render. So I like that back and forth. And I do feel like since I have been here a little longer, I get to kind of be in that conversation a little more about the color palette, about, you know, how this character might behave. And this exact boss, I actually got to help with the concepting process a little bit.
Wait, is
I didn't
this,
realize that.
which
the little
boss
version.
is this?
Yeah.
The
This
little-
is the
little
arcade.
guy.
Yeah.
Wait, is he already? Is he? I haven't seen any concepts.
Big. Oh,
Oh,
yes. Go into the art channel.
There is no concepts of him in the
Oh,
art.
we might be side slacking these in warm ups. Are we
no, I've posted
in our channel?
the GIFs and
Okay.
art. Yeah. Of
So
the
there's
big
two
version.
versions.
I
Yeah.
thought this is the guy I thought we were talking about.
Yeah.
So
There's
another
two
version.
versions.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
okay.
guy. That's the one that I helped.
I thought you were talking about the little guy.
Not little,
Okay.
little,
Oh,
not little.
no. He's not ready yet.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
ready
he's still
yet.
being worked
He's
on.
in
All
concepting.
Damn, man, I got real excited that there is concept art. So you've been at Gylee for 6 months. It's your first gaming gig, first creative professional gig, or professionally creative gig?
Yeah, I mean, I did some freelancing,
Okay.
thing, but this is the first like with a company, I guess.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
if that makes sense.
So what has been something that's like met your expectations, preferably in the positive light, and then what has been a surprise for joining the games industry?
You don't have to be positive. I want you to be honest.
I mean, I think surprising. So the surprising aspect is, I guess it's sort of surprising, but sort of not, because to get the job for the interview, I had an art test that Ryan had sent me, and that was going to be the bulk of my job, to, you know, create these renders from Emiliano's lines, from the animator's lines, and just kind of realizing that's definitely not the full scope of the job, right? Like my first day, that's nothing like I did. So, which was a little hectic because it was my first day. You have first day jitters, you know, for anything that's new.
I feel like we're like not an easy culture to walk in on either.
No, and you walked in it cleaning up someone else's work as well. So I'm sure that wasn't fun either.
And also learning a brand new program I had never used before.
Which
Clip
one?
Studio.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
I had never used
Yeah.
Clip Studio Paint.
Yeah.
And
Millie loves that.
Yeah. No, I really like it now, but just like all of these new things. So that was both challenging, and then just again the aspect of it's not just doing what I had done for the art test, but that's also a good thing. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that as a negative thing whatsoever. I actually really love being able to have my hand in a lot of different parts. And like already I've gotten to help with concepting. I've gotten to help, you know, create things in game that are going to be like player interactive. So I really like that, and like getting to collaborate with everybody, and like the script reads and kind of getting to give info on that. So It's a positive. It was a surprise, but it was definitely a positive.
That's good.
And in terms of like just meeting expectations, I mean, the part of the job that I did the test for, I mean, that's exactly how I expected it to go. And I feel like I'm proud of myself. I found a pretty good like workflow in
you're
my 6 months. So-
Amazing. You're like the reason.
Kim loves you.
Yeah, I love you. The reason that our animator is blocking you is because you're so quick. Like, we're not used to this.
Yeah, and I know that's probably the real reason why I got to help concept this latest boss is
Yeah.
because there was a block of time where Emiliana was a blocker for a long time.
Well, it's not just that though.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think within those 6 months, like there's a level of trust that you have to earn as a creative on the team, right? And
Right.
like, it can be, and it's a really delicate thing. It's very easy for people to come in, not earn that trust, and then expect to have creative input or expect to have some sort of creative authority.
Right.
And like the team around you hasn't collaborated with you long enough to understand whether your instincts are good or you're willing to have, like take in feedback, or there's all these other pieces I think that are really delicate in regards to doing creative work. One, every single person around the room is really vulnerable. It's tough to have ideas in general and express them publicly with the notion that like this might get knocked down, right? And I think you came in and earned that trust immediately. The first thing you did was like ask a ton of fucking questions.
I remember being so worried on my first day. I was like, I'm going to be seen as an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I'm supposed to ask questions because I know it's better in the long run to ask the questions
Yeah.
now than to be like, 3 months from now, oh, you did this wrong. You have to go back and fix this now. But yeah, that was definitely like an anxiety I had was I don't want to, seem like I don't know what I'm doing. Because, I did appreciate, obviously, a lot of the job market now is based on experience or who you know. And, I didn't have any personal connection with anybody at Gylee and obviously didn't have a ton of experience. So I was just very appreciative that you took the chance on me and hired me. And it's been great.
I think it
mutual.
worked out.
That part's
Yeah,
mutual.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so funny because like you may not have seen a lot of this, but we're a very sink or swim organization, right? Like if it's not working, you won't, we just don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have resources. We don't, if you can't do the job well, which is a bunch of different things. It's not just your ability to art or, match art style or draw lines or whatever, or like do fucking naming conventions correctly. Right, Kim? But it's also your ability to communicate well, your personality in the office, all these soft skills, right? That are difficult to teach and very difficult to find in the gaming industry, especially someone that's as junior as you. So I think like on the other side of that is like, we really appreciate that, and
Definitely the soft skills.
yeah. So I think that's really important as far as like the contribution to the team as well. So this is really a question. I feel weird being the one asking this. Kim should probably ask this.
I don't know what you're going to ask, though.
I know.
So I can't help you.
But what's it like being a female in the games industry, bud?
Oh, yeah, that's
I feel like it's one
was
that everybody
weird.
asks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The thing I always go back to is when I was in college, when I was at DAP, I actually did take a few Unity coding classes and the few that they offered. And I walked in the first day. It was a class of like probably 25 to 30. I was one of 2 girls
Oh, my gosh.
in the entire class. And I took some animation classes too, and there was a little bit more diversity there. But yeah, it was just sadly not surprising for the gaming class. And it does suck because there is, I do have friends that are streamers that are girls, and there is that bias, in the gaming community.
Let's make sure we get
right?
them Steam codes when
Yeah.
Yeah,
the time is
definitely.
appropriate.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think it's gotten better. I do think it's gotten better, but it would be nice. And I don't know what the right answer is, though, to how to incentivize. I don't know if it's just to create a better community and not have so much, like, bias in the actual games industry or, like, the gaming platforms. I don't know if that's the answer, but yeah. But
How's
it's
it been
fun.
at Gylee? The genuine curious question. Like, We'll cut it if I don't like the answer. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, I love it at Gylee. I mean, it feels pretty balanced, to be honest, because, me, Claire, and then Kim, and then there's Ryan and Emiliano and Andrew that are usually, like, in office
we're,
all
like,
the
the
time.
core.
So it feels pretty balanced at Gylee, specifically.
Right on.
Yeah.
Does it just kind of feel normal?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel...
I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
You don't think about it, or you
I don't.
feel...
It's not something I think about.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, again, in that gaming class I took, I felt it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always one growing up. I was usually friends with the guys versus the girls. I was into Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, and I had an older brother, so that's kind of where some of that came from. But I was never in the sororities. I was never, that wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a weird thing, but it was definitely something I noticed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You feel it.
Yeah.
So you're a junior production artist. My hope is that you aspire to lose that junior at some point. Maybe one day be a senior.
Yep.
Right? What are you doing, and what would you recommend people do to sort of grow your own career path? Are there new technologies you're learning? Are there skills that you're trying to be better at? What are some of the things that you're working on today to grow?
Honestly, a lot of it is just like kind of putting myself in the community more and connecting with people, because
Nice.
LinkedIn, once I got this job,
They don't want it
was
to be
like
easy.
pushing, different posts. It's almost all full of like game devs now, and, posts because now I've actually made some connections on LinkedIn. People have requested to be with me because I got
that's
this job,
cool.
because they see I'm in the games industry. So a lot of my feed is stuff about the games industry, and I'm like, you know what, I need to be more involved and try to learn more about, because I've always just been like casual gamer, like Dreamlight Valley, Animal Crossing, Mario Party. Those have always been more my speed. But just putting myself out there and making those connections, because I love the industry, and I know that's one of the best ways to, stay around in the
Smart.
industry.
Yeah.
So
It's who you know.
yes, it is who you know, for sure.
Chris
For sure.
knows that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Really?
What's the name drop count at?
Drew, do you even know?
I think 4.
4?
We're at
Okay.
For this episode?
Hold on.
Yeah.
We had to pause for a brief moment, and there was like 3 added to that,
Yeah.
by the way.
You guys
that
are
we
so
just didn't
mean,
catch on
man.
camera.
That's like literally all my job is
Name dropping?
networking.
Oh.
That's not
I guess
true.
it proves the point of how important it is.
Yeah,
It is
that's
important.
true. Yeah.
It is genuinely very important.
So yeah, that's just something I'm just starting to kind of figure out and be like, this is actually something I should probably do.
Yeah. That's smart. That's
and maybe
really smart.
comment on some posts and
Yeah,
things.
engage.
I think also too, just because I'm still so new to the industry, I feel like I don't have anything to add to this. I'm
not
not
at all.
like an expert in this field or anything, but I'm like, I need to kind of get past that.
Yeah.
So
We all
Very
have
important.
imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't go away.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just learn to live with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an idiot, but whatever. Can you walk us through sort of the process of creating a particular animation for a character or enemy, or
like the
involvement
process
of
that
it?
kind of I do.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
basically what I do is Emiliano, the animator, will create the roughs. We have different animations. We have like an idle, we have a walk cycle, usually some kind of attack animation, and he'll figure all those out, which bless him, he's got a hard job
Yeah.
sometimes, but again, entertaining for us because we see him act them out. But once he stops being a blocker and hands off those to me, I'm just kidding, Emiliano. We love you. Then what I do is I have a certain process I go through now where I set up the file the way that I like it, and I use vector layers to do the line work. That way, it's a skill that I learned right when in the beginning, and basically it just allows you to, if we want to make the pixel size of the outline or the inner lines thicker or smaller, it's not I have to redraw it, it's just clicking a button like up or down to be
Nice.
able to adjust that. And
That in Clip Studio?
yeah.
I didn't know they did
I didn't know
vector.
that either.
I thought it
You
was all
have to
raster.
specify that you are making a vector layer.
Oh, word.
It's like basically the icon is the same as the layer icon, except it has like a square next to
Oh,
it.
yeah,
So
I
that
know
kind
what
of
you're
like
talking about.
differentiates.
Yeah.
And then you use the pen tool, and then you can make it, you can like click a certain button to be able to adjust the line weight. I remember there was one time I had to go back and fix lines on one of our bosses that I had done like when I first started. And Ryan was so nervous. He's like, "Did you happen to put these on vector layers?" And I was like, yeah. He's like, "Phew, okay, we're good. He's like, this is going to take so much less time because it didn't involve me literally redrawing
geez.
Oh yeah.
several frames. But yeah, I like to put the lines on top and the color on bottom. And I have learned the more I can break it up, the better. Because as a character moves, especially if it's a more complicated animation, where it's more so than just he twists a little bit. If it's like a jump and turn, like I just did with the boss that we just finished, it's easier to break up all the body parts, like left arm, right arm, and then that way you can move those pieces individually. And
That's
then, so that
cool.
way, and then it doesn't mess up. Because I used to, when I first joined, I was just doing all of the inner lines on one layer. But then,
wow.
if I had to move it, it was like erasing and redoing those lines. And sometimes I felt like me being the perfectionist that I am, I could see those little jumps. Even though you have to think about the guy is like this big on your screen, right?
Yeah.
So like most people are not going to be able to see that, but me being, so I've kind of learned, I think I touched on this earlier, I learned in my almost 6 months here, a good process that works for me. So yeah,
We need to get you to write that process down.
Yeah, right?
Documentation would be good.
yeah.
Because you're
Step by
definitely the
step.
quickest we've
Yeah.
had.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it works well for me. I know everyone's different, but that's, again, how I'm kind of able to. I don't feel like I'm, like, super fast. I remember this last round, I thought I was slow because I was out of town, but I ended up still having a little bit of time. So I appreciate my own skill in being fast.
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate it.
Just to knock you down a peg, because I feel like you're too proud right now.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
I'm kidding. What's been a challenge you've had to overcome in the past 6 months?
I would say
Working with you.
We don't interact at all, right? That's
no,
fair.
not much. Yeah. We
Like, we
don't.
don't
know what that
interact at
says
all.
about you.
I don't. The only person I interact with at this point is you, primarily, and it's fucking awful.
Can confirm. Ouch.
Honestly, just again, Clip Studio Paint I had never used before, so just like on top of it being a new job and kind of learning different parts of the job that I was going to be responsible for on my first day, just also learning the new program. But I do love Clip Studio Paint now. There's just that added stress of like hoping you're not clicking a wrong button or anything like that. But I will also say there is quite a convoluted process when we make something that requires like a glow effect, like the fire, for example.
Yeah.
And Ryan, I felt so bad because he would tell me the process, and then the next day I'd be like, what did we do? And I would apologize every time. He's like, no, it's fine. It's a really convoluted process. And the thing is, for every object or animated thing that needs that like glow, we call it like a bloom effect. It's been a slightly different process for that exact object.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
all.
just a lot
It's not
of
all quite the same.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, and he was even saying last time, because I had to use it on something for the last boss. He was like, we really need to set, because Clip Studio you can like set like an automatic action.
That's
and, like,
nice.
He's like, we should probably do, and then we can just tweak from there. So hopefully we'll get to that.
I wonder if we could build a shader for that also.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
If we could just build
But
a
I
shader.
literally wrote in my notes, I ended up like writing out notes for myself on like, this is how I did the fire step by step. And then like, I've started to like refer back to that as like my baseline whenever we need to do another
That's
like
smart.
bloom effect. Took me long enough to figure out to just take
More
notes.
documentation, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably been, because it's kind of a technical more so than creative aspect.
Yeah.
So it's a little harder for my brain, but it's
Understandably.
it's doable for sure, especially if I'm smart and take notes and not ask Ryan 500 times how to do it.
I feel like that probably set you up for success in regards to how technical we are. Like we're
for sure.
I think making art for video games is much more technical than fine art,
Yeah.
as it were.
And and I definitely, so I focused on 3D animation specifically when they were still building that program.
Oh, wow.
And so,
Oh yeah, Mike.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll have him on one day.
Yeah.
Did you just name drop?
Yep.
I name dropped someone that taught
That's
her
5.
though.
It's,
It discounts.
God
it does
damn it.
Yeah,
discount,
nice
yeah.
try.
Yeah, Mike Gassaway was one of my instructors there, and he was like the lead like animator for the Jimmy Neutron movie. So that was really cool. And he worked on the show Jimmy Neutron, but I believe it was like the movie that he was actually like the head one on.
Yeah.
But he had to like fight with me actually with DAP to like get those to count as studios.
Seriously?
Yeah, because they technically weren't like 3 hours twice a week, even though it's a little, I don't know if I agree with that because it was a 3 credit hour course, but we would have the studio 3 hours twice a week. So I'm like, so it should be 6 credit hours,
Yeah.
but it was only 3. So the animation class that I took was an hour and a half twice a week. So I had to like fight to like get it counted as a studio, even though it wasn't 3 hours twice a week. That's a whole other
that's
spiel that I
crazy.
could go down a rabbit hole about. That's not what the question's about. But 3D animation is very technical, and there were a lot of things that I had to just kind of figure out, you know. So, but I did like it. It's just a different part of my brain, I guess, that I have to turn on to be able to do it.
Makes
So,
sense.
yeah.
That's cool though.
Okay. So like as far like obviously you're a creative person in general. You now have a job where you're creative every day, all day. Are there other passions that you have outside of work that are in that same lane that you get fulfilled by, or?
Yeah, so I'm actually a character actress. I perform a lot of murder mystery, like interactive dinner theater, and I also perform as princesses, usually for like little girls' birthday parties. So I love doing that. Again, I feel like it all stems from just the love of telling stories, and obviously the murder mysteries, there's a script and you're telling a story, and there's time period ones like 1920s, 1950s. So just being as accurate as you can, not with just the script itself and like the setting, but how you talk, how you dress, your makeup, and things like that. And the princess thing is, I mean, these girls believe you are that princess.
That's so cute.
And it's really special. So those are really fulfilling for me. And then I also love cosplay. Actually, my friends that got married, they're the ones that got me into Dragon Con.
Oh.
So I've just been really into cosplaying. They were really mad about how good my first cosplay I made was. It was me and my boyfriend. We were Astrid and Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
And I have this, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like my toxic trait is like looking at something and be like, I can make that.
That's amazing.
No problem. Like I had never worked with EVA foam before.
Oh shoot.
And I was like, I can do that. And I'm not one to watch tutorials. I'm lazy. I don't know if that's considered lazy. I'm too lazy
Nah.
to watch videos, but like on something, because I'm like, I can figure it out, even though it'll probably help me and not waste materials to watch this 10-minute video. I don't want to do that. I can just do it because I'm impatient also. And I just want to get my hands on it. And yeah, I made like her shorter armor, like out of the
I have
EVA
not
foam.
seen any pictures, by the way. I have to see
I've
this.
got a lot on my Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll
yeah,
check it out.
it's a
We
lot
gotta
of fun.
follow Meghann
Although
on Insta.
I literally have a post from last Dragon Con because 2022's Dragon Con, I was really bad about sharing. I only shared one, and
Oh,
then
wow.
so literally on this year's first Dragon Con post, in the caption, it's like, last year I was really bad about sharing. This year I'm gonna do better. And it was the only post I made about Dragon Con. And so like looking at it now, because I've obviously made posts since then, I'm like, that's kind of funny. I feel like I need to go in and edit the caption and be like, edited 6 months later. Obviously I did not do a good job with this.
That's
To
amazing.
sharing more. And I'm like, is it too late to share more pictures of costumes? I don't know. But I'm kind of going into Dragon Con prep now already. If you would believe
Seriously?
it. Yeah.
Already?
Oh yeah.
Do you know who you're being?
Well, I'm definitely cosplaying as somebody from Raw. For sure.
Wait, did you ask her that because you knew? Because I didn't know that.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I plan on, can we like name drop the characters?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so Nez or Eris.
Oh, Nez would be
Yeah.
cool
Nez
as
would
Yeah.
be
fuck,
cool.
Yeah.
dude.
And I'm actually leaning more towards Nez.
Are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
I see Eris because of the red
Do you have an
hair,
Australian
but, yeah.
accent though?
I
We're
can maybe
gonna
work
send
on
it. We're
one.
gonna send it to Amy.
I can work on it. I can work on it. I can see what I got. And then I know my group of friends, we always try to coordinate like one big group cosplay. So I know a couple years ago we were all people like friends from Friends.
Oh, that's cute.
yeah, and we just did their outfits like from the opening.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like
Oh,
black and white
yeah.
because it's easy, you know.
Yeah.
Because I always love the thriftable costumes. I try to make
Heck
it more
yeah.
realistic on myself and pick like one big build, and then the rest can be like thrifted, like just normal clothing pieces.
Are you like as you're working on it? Will you do like work in progress pics?
Oh yeah.
On Insta and stuff?
Oh yeah. I have
Yeah.
so many progress photos on my phone
Love
of
it.
different cosplays.
That's cool.
But the group this year wants to do a big Doctor Who And
I love Doctor Who.
actually never seen Doctor Who. So it's on me and my boyfriend's list. We have to,
You gotta start now.
They want us to be Amy and Rory.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
That works.
That's who they're telling us. So
That's,
they told us to
that's,
just start with the seasons where they
Nebula.
Because I
Where's-
know it's,
Yeah, I can't think of her name.
Yeah.
Gillian, right? Karen Gillan?
yes, that
Yeah.
sounds right. Yeah.
That does sound right.
True, is that
um,
right? Can you Google that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
doing
it is
anything?
the actress that does Nebula. I know that. I'm not 100% on her name.
Cool.
So yeah,
Karen
that's
Gillan.
who they want to
Yeah,
do.
thanks, buddy.
I also am really interested. My build would be, because I mean, for one of Ra-Ra's characters, it's mostly thriftable. But like, if I want to do like their weapon, I would build that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that would be like a half build, and
Oh,
then
so you could do Nez fairly easy then.
right. One that I'm really interested in doing is, have you guys seen Big Hero 6?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Honey
Oh,
Lemon.
I got a bunch of name drops.
Honey,
there.
the blonde.
I
The
can't.
blonde
Yeah,
with the
of course.
glasses.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
love her like
She's great.
superhero look.
Oh wait, think
Yeah,
about it now.
I
It
love
took
her
me a minute to
superhero
like
look.
Yeah.
check
So,
back
like-
into what she
But that
looked
would
like.
involve making a helmet, which I've
Yeah,
never
yeah,
done.
yeah. That's a lot.
But again,
Ooh.
toxic trait. I can do
Yeah.
that.
Chris
Chris can help you with that.
Yeah, I've made a lot of helmets.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
They're
All right.
like
Gets a lot of
showcased in the
visors.
office. Yeah.
The dead mouse, I'm
Yeah, he's
I'm a little handy on that
yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Very
I
impressive.
don't know if I realized
honestly.
you made that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
I
you
have to
haven't
look.
been around for like Halloween and he's cussing and making stuff. And
I
like,
was working
has
on it.
shit
It
everywhere.
failed,
Okay.
but I was
Yeah.
working on a full size KO costume from Valorant, which is like a full on robot, like the whole thing.
Okay.
Anyway, whatever. Cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So cosplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Awesome.
is really cool.
Well, now because we're running out of battery, it is time for our recommendations.
It sounds like we're not planning, but that's not what's happening right now. We're having like
Electronical issues.
that's,
Drew.
they said it right.
Yeah. Meghann, since you're our guest, why don't you give us some recommendations? So this could be, any music, movies, entertainment, anything, or not, anything that you think the audience would be interested in.
So music wise, it's not like brand new. It came out like last November, but I'm really into AJR.
What the fuck is AJR?
I love AJR. I
What
love
is
their
AJR?
music.
Music group. Music
That's
group.
what they're called, is AJR?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
It's
heard
it's
them.
It's like it's three brothers, and so it's the first initial.
Oh, it's like
of each of their
Jonas
names.
Brothers or some shit?
No,
Music.
it's good stuff.
do-
You've heard
yeah.
it. I'm not gonna sing.
Do you know
Don't
the
put me
the
on-
Bang song?
No.
He
Probably
has, he
do.
has,
Yeah,
he
you
knows.
probably.
I'm a
know it.
boomer.
No, you know it.
No, but
it,
I
it
like
plays
their
on
music.
TikTok. You'll know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like their music a lot, and their new album's really good. That came out in November, so it's called The Maybe Man, and I actually already have tickets to. They're coming to Cincinnati in July.
Yeah, I saw
On
that. I
tour.
really
Where
want to
at?
go.
Heritage Bank Center.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I had seen them
So they're like
at.
arena level.
They're
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I think
They
Drew,
put
do you know
on.
who this is?
They
Are you
have
serious?
really good like production value.
Nice.
For
Oh,
their
I've never been
shows.
to a
Okay.
concert.
Really good because I saw them when they came to Riverbend.
We'll
They,
take
like-
you to Excision and show you real good
Yeah.
production value.
And I'm also really into 21 Pilots.
I love
Yeah.
21 Pilots.
Fun fact: I actually got to do a murder mystery show for Tyler Josephs and his family on New Year's Eve going into 2019.
That's
Did
a
you know
Meghann
going
name
into
drop?
it?
Yeah.
That's a
That's
they
Meghann
booked
name
it like
drop.
3 days before.
That's so
and we
cool.
were freaking out, and it was because they're local, like fairly, like the Columbus area.
I did
That's
not
where,
know
That's
that.
where-
where that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that's where Tyler Joseph is from.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Also, you can't hate on her for name dropping because it's like the very first time she's done it, and you do it episode after episode.
Again, why I'm sitting here, just to be clear. But 21 Pilots just announced that they have a new album coming out on May 17th. So, and they
Oh,
just
that'd be
dropped their
dope.
first song. I think it was called Overcompensate.
So that
Okay, I
means the
haven't
tour's
heard it.
coming for them too.
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
sure.
I've been
Yeah.
so I have a friend who is obsessed with Tyler Joseph specifically. She loves 21 Pilots, but she like loves Tyler
Oh, that's
Joseph
cute.
and like
Man,
obsessed.
that
So
is
we've
a
been
fucking
to 3 or 4 of their concerts together.
That's so
and they put on
cool.
they also put on a really good show. And then as far as entertainment, I am so late to the game on this, but I started watching Supernatural and it's so good.
I've heard it's really
My
good.
It's so
youngest is
good.
obsessed with it. She has watched them probably 3 or 4 times over.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
It's interesting because I'm on season 5. I'm like almost halfway through, I believe, season 5, which is like the big season. And like the show writers just planned for it to be a 5-season show. Like it was supposed to be the end, but it was so popular
I did not
that
know
they
that.
were like, we're going to continue. So yeah, it's
Good
really,
looking
really good.
cast.
It's,
I've
I
never
know it's
watched
like,
any of
this
it.
was like what? I mean, I know it actually just recently ended, like 2019. I think.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like
I
it
didn't
went
know that.
on for a long time. There's like 15 seasons.
That is.
It was one of those
bananas.
shows where I was kind of intimidated to start it because there were so many seasons.
Yeah.
That's Doctor Who.
Yep. That's what I was saying. You better
Doctor
start
Who
watching
is
now.
like really out there, so that's
Yeah.
why my friends were like, just start with where those characters show up that we want you to cosplay. But yeah, those are my recommendations.
Great.
Those are great.
Good recos.
Oh, we call them recos.
We are. What's the Neckos? Necco wafers?
Wafers.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Those
Things
are
taste like
nasty.
shit.
Yeah. Not. I don't know what shit tastes like, but I'm gonna go with they're gross.
Also, that was my ADHD in real time. Legitimately. Wow.
We've been here a while.
Okay. Recos. Kim, what are your recos for the audience?
Mine aren't media based because I haven't like
You're too
ingested
good
anything
for that?
to
Yeah.
media based. But
No, I get it. It's okay.
I
How's that
was-
horse? Is it high enough or
huh?
nothing?
That was so fucking judgy. You are bullying me. Do you see this?
Tell me your better things than media that
It's not a better thing. If I have to give some things, I'm just gonna say a thing. So I'm a big sunscreen person. Like something you have to wear. Everyone should be wearing sunscreen. I'm not.
Not like all the time.
Yes,
All the time.
Like
I'm
every
pale.
day?
Yes.
every freaking day
Well, like,
you should be.
You're a ginger
on
though.
your
That's okay.
No,
Yeah.
don't. That doesn't
Like I don't wear
matter.
body sunscreen
Yeah,
every day, but
and my
face.
face and my neck are always covered.
Okay.
And the sun can get through you on a cloudy, like dark.
There's even
stormy
like
day.
studies like if you don't wear sunscreen because if you're driving, this is the side of your face that gets hit. And, like there are people that like they had more sun damage on this side of their face because
Seriously?
of driving. Yeah.
Oh, I have seen that. Like
Yeah.
truckers and
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
See,
yeah.
yeah.
this
Yeah.
is my point. So we all should be wearing
They're
sunscreen.
in-
This is
they're in the
like
sun
a
all
PSA,
day,
but
every
not.
day. So
but-
sense, but Kim's staring at a screen.
Will you please let me talk?
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Son of a gun. What I recently learned, like within this past year, Forbes had put out an article about how basically sunscreen is FDA regulated as a drug and not actually a cosmetic. And I didn't know that. And it's very different in all other countries. So like all other countries are way beyond what we're able to provide as far as absorbency and like UV protection. So I found like a little. You're gonna make fun of me for like even saying.
Dude, actually, no.
Oh,
like
okay.
this sounds like this is really valuable for people. I was
Yeah.
just making fun of you that you were
Okay.
suggesting sunscreen.
So I found this little like a zinc stick, like zinc oxide, which like you always think that they're like those really white things that like that's how I always pictured it, like on like people's noses. Like that's how I always thought zinc was. But these are like colored. They're made in Australia, and you can get like skin tone color. You can get fun colors or whatever. But I use like a skin tone as just like literally like a base, like almost just like cover up. And because it's zinc, it also like protects you from zits and things like that. And it's like, I think it's like 50. It's high on the SPF. I want to say 50, and it has made my skin so much better. It's so much lighter. I'm not wearing as much makeup. Like
Is
I
that
think-
available on like Amazon?
yeah, I got it on Amazon. Yeah, it's amazing. It was like for like I think
What's
12
the name
bucks.
of it? One more time.
I don't know the name.
You-
It's made in Australia. Do I have to Google
show
it?
notes. Show notes.
Show notes.
We'll put it in the show
Yeah,
notes.
I definitely can tell you it's from Australia. It's a stick. You can get it on Amazon. It's like $12 to $15, and it comes in like different colors. You can get it in like pink and blue and tan and like white or whatever. It's just cool. I highly recommend it. Like you see football players, you love football, they have to have the zinc. They do the black underneath their eyes for sun protection.
Oh, I don't think I realized that's what that was for.
Well,
Yes.
isn't that? I'm
Yeah,
pretty
so
sure
the
it's
shine
for.
doesn't hit your eyes
Yeah.
hard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make that up. Anyway, that's my
Good
recommendation.
reco. Good reco. Kim, you got anything to ask me?
Oh, do you have any recommendations, Chris?
You're so good at your job.
You really made me mad.
Why did I make you mad?
You just go
Why did I make you mad?
because I felt like you were
We're gonna
like
conflict resolve this in real time on the show.
you had set up these like
Also, Kim or Drew, you know Joe Rogan and how he like recommends supplements to everyone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, zinc stick.
there you go.
Are you really comparing me to Joe Rogan right now? Is that what's happening? A white dude comparing me to a white dude? we're not doing that. Anyway, I feel like you put up these parameters like has to be tech or music or something like that. And I was like, a recommendation should be a recommendation. And this is
I
something
agree.
that I feel like everyone, this is
You're
my
thinking
little
outside the
PSA.
box.
Thank you.
God forbid I recommend video games.
A
on
video
this
game
video game
podcast.
podcast. So my biggest recommendation, which to be fair, a lot of people have been talking about it, but in case you haven't heard, there's a game called Balatro. Have you heard of this, Drew?
No.
Balatro?
No.
Is that really how you pronounce it?
Yeah. So Balatro is a hypnotically satisfying deck builder where you play illegal poker hands, discover game-changing jokers, and trigger adrenaline-pumping, outrageous combos. Pulled that from their Steam summary.
It sounded natural.
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not worried.
Balatro is essentially like a roguelike poker game that you're playing. You're like building poker hands, sort of hand over hand. It is addictive as fuck. Like genuinely, you've seen me playing
Yeah,
at
I've
work
watched you
a
play.
lot.
Yeah.
Very retro graphics. It kind of reminds me of like, man, I mean, I guess solid, like old Windows 95 solitaire or whatever, but like,
But way cooler.
yeah, it's extremely good. It's very fun. It's cheap. I want to say like 10, 15 bucks maybe. I highly recommend.
And
very
it's not
replayable.
Gambling, which I thought it was. Like
No,
you're
no,
not
no.
buying into
You're
it.
just. What I like about it is you're essentially like playing the dealer the whole time and trying to defeat them, and it's about your run. It's about like so like you're trying to beat. There's a new dealer every hand, and like the first dealer, for example, to win you have to get more than 300 points, and so you play a couple poker hands. I think you have like 3 or 4 hands to like get those 300 points, right? And like a pair may be worth 50 points or whatever. And then that all escalates over time. The dealers get more expensive, but like your cards get more expensive, or like the cards that you have, like you're fucking with the deck a lot. Like you can add, for example, like one of the best way to do a run is to like just optimize for flushes. So like you can stack the deck with like a shit ton of spades. So like you're probably going to get a lot of spades, and then you get these jokers that sort of enhance particular cards. So you can be like, okay, so like one joker could be like you could get a flush with 4 cards instead of 5, right? So you're playing that joker. So you're trying to get a run to sort of beat the whole game, and then there's obviously an endless run and challenge mode and things like that. It's super fun. I'm not like a huge poker person necessarily. I mean, I play a little bit, but like I didn't expect this to get its hooks into me because it's not stuff that necessarily like I go to games for. But there was enough people who were like, bro, you got to play this. And that's how all my friends talk.
Okay.
And I was like, cool, I'll check it out. And sure enough, it's absolutely got my hooks in it. So that's Balatro is the name of that.
How do you spell that?
Balatro. We'll put it in the show notes.
Nice.
And then
Thanks, Drew.
2 other things. One is Shogun, which is a new show on FX, which is on Hulu, which is how I watch it. First 2 episodes are out. Based in not medieval Japan, what would you call that? Like I don't know, when the Shogun era happened in Japan, whatever that would be.
Is that like what our like Western would be in the United States? Just asking. for
No, this would be
clarification.
like pre-America. This is like
okay.
definitely pre-America.
Okay.
But I'm terrible at history. Ryan would be real fucking upset with me.
Oh
right
no,
now.
he would have jumped down your throat.
Yeah,
instantly.
because I'm bad at like sort of eras and,
Yeah.
and timelines and things. I don't like history's not. I'm not a history buff at all. But set in the Shogun era, feudal is the word I wanted. This is during feudalism. Got it. Feudal Japan, and it's about this English pirate that shows up in Japan, and it's like, dude, it's fucking Game of Thrones, but like set in feudal Japan. It
That's
is
cool.
so good. It is so good. The acting is phenomenal. Set designs are phenomenal. Writing's really good. It's based on a book, which I found out today as I was researching it. And it's on Hulu. I think everything on FX is on Hulu. I'm not 100%, but
I agree.
highly recommend it. A lot of subtitles, not completely, but a decent chunk of Japanese. So
Yeah, I
if you don't know
appreciate that.
Japanese, you're going to be reading subtitles. But like, man, first 2 episodes are out. By the end of the second episode, I'm like, this is a must watch. So absolutely a must watch for me. And then last thing, just real quickly, Schoolboy Q has a new album out called Blue Lips today. I haven't watched it yet or listened to it yet. So I listened to a little bit of a song called Ohio, which is like
Nice.
most important song,
Yeah.
but name drop.
Go on.
A bunch of my friends worked on a few of his apps and his tour, and stuff like that. So like anything TDE related, I have a particular love for. So new Schoolboy Q album. What's his most famous song, Kim? Bruh. See girls everywhere.
I'm not saying that.
Oh, you're
Man
not?
of the year?
Man of the
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
But he wants me to.
What's the next line?
I'm not doing it.
No? Jen would always do it.
Jen would do it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Not doing it. Great song though.
So yeah, those are my recommendations for this week. Meghann, where can people follow you, find you on the internet? Is there anything that in particular you want to plug?
If you want them to follow you.
Yeah, anything you want to share for the world that will eventually watch this episode?
I mean, Instagram is pretty much where I'm most active. I am not in the loop and don't have a TikTok or anything yet. If you're interested in the theater, princessing, like other things of my life, my Instagram is like _M Hubbard _ Hubbard is HUBARD. And then I do technically have a separate account for my art Instagram. It's just my name, Meghann's. So it's all lowercase, Meghann's _doodles. And just an FYI, my name is spelled real weird. It's MEGHANN, and then add an S to that. Meghann's Doodles. But there's a little asterisk next to that because I have not been good about upkeeping that account. So I'm going to try to be better. But if you're interested in see past art that I have done, you can go give that a follow.
Awesome. Is it okay if I follow?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's always weird when it's
Oh, I'm gonna follow her.
coworkers.
I want to see your costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's mostly
that'll be
why.
on
Yeah.
my M Hubbard
Okay.
Yeah,
one.
I want to see the
Yeah.
works in progress.
Yeah.
Awesome. Kim, you're not
Please
on
don't
the
follow
internet.
me.
Yeah, you're not on
Don't
the
follow
internet.
me.
You can follow me personally at Bergs Makes Games on Insta or Chris Bergman on Twitter. I'm not calling it the other thing. And then please make sure to wishlist Rah Rah Boom, our 4-player co-op beat 'em up about Ninja Cheerleaders from Outer Space on Steam. And follow at Gylee Games, GYLEE Games, on I think all socials, every single social, Twitter,
All the things.
TikTok,
things.
Insta, Facebook, all that.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn,
YouTube. If you're watching this, make sure to Are we doing that?
Smash.
that like and subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks everybody.
Thanks.
guys.
Bye.